hot, humid, miserable Kentucky temperatures were enough reason to hop on a plane to Washington State. However, I had an even better reason: to ride my bike from Canada to Mexico. I wouldn't be going on this journey of a lifetime alone. Someone would be going with me. That person, my dad. Washington greeted us with cool, rainy, typical Pacific Northwest weather. We hopped in a cab to Earl's bike shop, where we were reunited with our two bundles of pride and joy, our surly long-haul truckers. We appropriately began our journey with the universal symbol of the vagabond life, a van. We were dropped off at the Peace Park at the U.S.-Canadian border. We snapped a few photos and made sure to tag the official border marking before officially heading south. Can you even say you rode border to border if you didn't actually touch the border marking? Just like moving into a new home, it takes a while to settle into life as a bike tourist. One second you're at home, and the next second you're on a bike on the opposite side of the country with a couple of shirts, a couple of pairs of shorts, a tent, and a sleeping bag. It's a shock to the system, but eventually you settle in, and that's when the magic happens. The days are long, but somehow they go by so fast, and you never know what you're going to come across.
That's awesome! Good for you! Hi!
You cross paths with some interesting people, and sometimes you cross paths with them several times.
Take me all around to the thinking places where you spend your time. Ain't no place I'd rather go. You're a funny little critter and I love you so, man. I wanna take a ride in the wheelbarrow.
You find your rhythm, and somehow, despite your tired legs and aching muscles, you find a peace that you could have never found while sitting at home.
Nice and hot, we can sit in our underwear. Tell me about the dreams you had last week, swimming all around with the fish in the sea. Come sit down with me in the rocking chair.
Hey, wave at me. Hey guys, so the ride has been really great so far. So we started at the Peace Park just north of Blaine, and we've been making our way south. We've been through some really neat little towns. The terrain has been pretty hilly. Today we stopped in Elma. You have to stop, I think it's called Miller House Catering. Their food is really good. I'm not a foodie, but I really enjoyed eating there, and they have fantastic chocolate chip cookies. The only place to camp in town is at an RV park, but they allow cyclists to camp behind the trailer that's kind of like the office. When we checked in, the lady was super nice, and she gave me and my dad 2 bags of chocolate chip cookies that were baked fresh. Apparently that's a thing that they do for cyclists. Today we only got about 30 miles in, which is okay. The next town, Centralia, doesn't have camping, or I think the RV park doesn't allow cyclists to camp there. So we weren't really sure about riding another 30 miles today because it's kind of windy. So we stopped here, and we're glad we stopped here. So make sure you stop in Elma. See you guys later.
Take me all around to the thinking places where you spend your time. Ain't no place I'd rather go. You're a funny little critter and I love you so, man. I wanna take a ride and we'll bear in your mind.
What can I say? Bike touring forces you to slow down and enjoy the simple things in life.
Coffee party, nice and hot. We can sit in our underwear.
Other than the ginormous, steep climbs that we frequently encountered, Washington was good to us. The weather was great and the traffic was light. And there seemed to always be something to entertain us around every corner.
Come here. Come on. Don't be scared. Y'all don't like that? They don't like it.
Baby, let's fly up to the moon. We can get away for a couple of days or even just an afternoon. Baby, looking up and we're looking down. We can wave to the people in our hometown. Let's fly up to the moon. And I wanna take a ride and we'll bury in your mind. Take me all around to the thinking places where you spend your
We even rode near Mount St. Helens and watched massive ships traveling down the river. How's that for some entertainment? I mean, we don't have this stuff in Kentucky.
Yeah, I wanna take a ride and we'll bear in your mind.
Before we knew it, we were facing our first rite of passage of the trip, our first state line crossing. Now, let me be clear. My dad and I have both crossed many state lines on our bike tours over the years. Although we rode the Trans Am at separate times, we have both crossed Virginia, Kentucky, Missouri, Kansas, Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, and Oregon. We have also crossed the District of Columbia and Maryland on our Gap and CNO bike tour. However, this is the first time either of us had crossed Washington State. We could only hope Oregon would treat us just as well. The Oregon coastline was spotted with neat little coastal towns, and before we knew it, we came face to face with our first real view of the Pacific Ocean. Cannon Beach gifted us with a tiny glimpse on what was to come, and time seemed to pass so slowly, but in a good way. The thing that I love most about bike touring is it allows you to slow down and take everything in. From a vehicle, these moments are fleeting. From a bike, they are timeless. Oregon by far had the best camping of the entire trip. The campsites were fully outfitted with lockers equipped with USB charging outlets, tools, and bike pumps.
Oh, hello there. You're here for the tour? Please keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times. This is my bike, also known as the clothesline. I keep my sleeping bag, my tent, my sleeping pad in the back. My clothes go in the front. And this is where I keep my food. This is my handlebar bag, and that's where my map is to make sure we know where we're going. But more importantly, there's snacks. Next is our sleeping quarters. Don't touch the fine furnishings. This sleeping quarter accommodates one cyclist. It's complete with an air mattress, a down sleeping bag, and a pillow. This particular sleeping quarter accommodates two cyclists, or one cyclist that just wants some extra room. It's complete with a sleeping pad, and a pillow, and an MIA sleeping bag. To wrap up our tour, this is basically our front yard. The Pacific Ocean, the largest ocean in the world. Thank you for joining me on our tour today. See you next time. Oh my gosh!
Were our legs tired? Sure. But our spirits were alive. How could they not be with incredible views of the Pacific coast continuously at our fingertips? We soon found a new rhythm, which wasn't much of a rhythm. It consisted of stopping every mile to take it all in. So, Oregon had fantastic views, but if I have to be completely honest, the weather was horrible. It rained on us for days on end, and it was a cold rain. If we weren't packing up a wet tent, we were desperately trying to get warm inside of a breakfast diner. Pruny fingers and all. we resorted to staying in some pretty unique places to find some solace from the never-ending rain. Our time spent taking in the incredible views turned into constructing the perfect drying rack for our shoes, socks, pillows, and rain flies. Despite the days and days of cold rain dampening our trip, things soon started to look up.
Come back! Oh my God, I just saw a platypus. I've never seen a platypus. Did you see it? Hey! Look! We've got a friend. Go! Go!
The marine layer dissipated and the sun came out just in time for the 7 devils. Now, let me tell you, I had nervously listened to several podcasts dedicated to discussing 7 Devils Road. Talking to a local at a nearby gas station didn't help. 7 Devils was a road that consisted of 7 insanely steep climbs. Having not heard much about the steep climbs we had encountered in Washington, I was a bit apprehensive about 7 Devils Road. But the thing that made my apprehension worse, 7 Devils Road was standing between us and something that I had been desperately hoping for several days, a yurt. I had been trying to book a yurt for days, and I knew that they must be amazing because they stayed booked up. If we could just make it over the 7 Devils, we would have a pretty nice treat waiting for us on the other side. I guess by now you realize that we made it to our coveted yurt. I won't talk about how we both had the worst night's sleep of the entire trip. But what I will talk about, the 7 Devils were nothing compared to the climbs that we had already conquered. Oregon had been quite the ride, but something new was on the horizon. The wind seemed to blow us right into California, and I didn't have a clue how incredible it was going to be. In the 2 years of planning this bike tour, I had dreamed of several different moments, and one of those moments was riding through Redwood National Park. We cruised down the Avenue of the Giants in complete awe, and I took off my helmet so my gaze could fully embrace the tallest trees in the world. John Muir once said, "And into the forest I go, to lose my mind and find my soul." And I can confidently say that I did both of those. This was truly a special place. My heart re-energized. I knew more truly fantastic things were on the horizon. The California coast had a completely different feel than the Oregon coast. It was wild, it was untamed, it was magic, and I loved it.
Yeah, I love the waves.
I guess I didn't mention that we would be crossing one of the 7 wonders of the modern world. Crossing the Golden Gate Bridge ended up being one of the highlights of the trip. As a nature lover, I wasn't expecting to be as amazed at this giant piece of architecture. It was truly mesmerizing.
Wait.
The California coast definitely had its quirks. One minute, we would be watching determined surfers catch waves. The next minute, you'd be startled by the screams from an amusement park. This was what California was all about.
Come here. Let me play.
But the best thing California had to offer? Big Sur. Big Sur left me absolutely speechless. I had never seen such beautiful coastline. I knew without a doubt this was the most beautiful ride that I would ever go on.
Where'd that come from?
Show me what it is.
Reese's peanut butter roll.
Show it to me.
Peanut butter, milk chocolate. What more could you ask for?
Taking a selfie video.
The ride through Big Sur ended with a bang. The culprit? Elephant seals. I could have watched them for hours. Let's just say they were easy entertainment. As we neared the end of our trip, I couldn't help but wonder where time had gone. It seemed just like yesterday we were cruising through Washington. I tried to not take anything for granted, even setting up our tents for the 40th time. I knew that once I was back home, I'd be wishing it all back.
Oh God, Shannon. It's a close call.
Largest ocean in the world.
Do it again.
I'm not gonna lie, I was extremely nervous about riding through LA. It was like a looming cloud that followed me around. With a population of nearly 4 million, it was by far the largest city I had ever biked through. But you know what? It ended up working out. We easily made our way through the entirety of LA using beach bike paths and bike lanes. I had worried for nothing. It's border day! It seemed like yesterday that we were tagging the Canadian border marking. And just like that, we had reached our 50th day and our last day. Despite being tired and missing home, I wasn't ready for it all to end. As we rode through San Diego, it was almost as if my senses were heightened. I was desperately trying to be intentional about soaking in every last part of the trip of a lifetime with my dad. When we finally reached the border wall, I may or may not have had the Border Patrol barreling down the hill towards me when they saw that I was planning on touching the wall. Let's just say that's not a good idea. They say the best things in life aren't things, and I say the best things in life are experiences, especially when they're with those that you love. I'll never forget that one time. That time that I biked from Canada to Mexico with my dad.